everyone, welcome back to the Mercenary Miniature Painter YouTube channel. I'm Scott.
This is John.
And we're here with another battle report for Warhammer 6th edition. So tonight we are continuing our campaign once again, and we've got a different matchup now. So the High Elves, I think they are definitely the most included faction now.
Feels a bit like that at the minute.
The Dark Elves have only had to fight you.
Yeah.
You seem to keep getting rammed by these random armies. So this time it's the Tomb Kings. Despite being in the midst of all of the Dark Elf territory in the south, they've actually sort of very angry.
Yeah, it's my ploy to send them down there, and now they've attacked me.
Yeah. They've veered onto the road where Lady Faylen, who's just recovered from a bit of a near-death experience at the hands of the Dark Elves, she's now back in the fight. Sans one commander, as John said, and
well, the commander's done her pride in the last battle, getting a draw against the Empire.
Yeah,
so she needs to
his life to do it.
She needs to take the reins and really bring her army back together now. It can't be a massacre.
No, we'll be in trouble if it is.
Yeah,
but yeah, she's got to defend the road. Otherwise, the Tomb Kings could potentially rampage through both of us, to be honest.
Yeah.
So they're only one away from one of your other armies as well, so they could just smash through.
He's got a dragon though, and a bit more confident with him.
Let's see. So John's gone for the daring thing of taking beasts on his level 4 as well, so that might be interesting. So we'll go over to the armies in a minute. Just before we do, I will just check out the map. So this is where they're fighting. So this is how things stand at the moment. If you haven't watched the map video, so John has moved onto the road with Lady Faylen, and then Ramotep's army burst out of the forests and have attacked. So my stuff's just down there to the south. Was looking a bit undefended with the two High Elf armies converging together. However, the Tomb Kings, they're desperately searching for their ancient artifacts. They obviously think that Faylen's got one of them, so they've zoomed in on her. So that is where we stand. We'll come back with the armies and then show you the deployments. Leading the Tomb Kings tonight, I've got Lord Ramotep over here, and he's not very happy. He's come out on his chariot to deal with these elves that are standing on the road. He's accompanied by the prince on the chariot as well, the hierophant, and a regular leech priest. In the core selection, I've got two chariots, both have got full command. One to swarm, which
So tonight we have Lady Faylen, her commander's dead, one of them. So she has got just this chap here and then a level 2 wizard with her. He is on high magic and he's rolled 6 and 2. So that's Vol's Making and Curse of Our Attraction. And she is going to be on the Lord Beast tonight. And she's going to have the Oxen Stands, the Crow's Feast, which is a magic missile, the Beast Cowards, which makes your stuff hit on 6s, Chariots, Cavalry, or Monsters, and the Wolf Hunts, which can move my Cavalry, Chariots, or Monsters 2d6 into combat. So that's what that is. The core tonight is 5 Silver Helms. They have a champ, the musicians being a champ. 10 Silver Helms full command, and 17 Spearmen full command. In the special, we have the 2 Chariots, 2 rear units of Reavers. They have just spears tonight. And then in the rare, we've got 2 Bolt Throwers and 2 Eagles. And that is 2,000 points of the High Elves.
And there we have the deployment. So I forgot to mention in the preamble, but we are playing Zandri Road once again. It makes sense. We are on a main road. So half of the road are each worth their own victory points. I always forget how much. 200 victory points. And also, if your general falls, you leave him where he dies, and he basically counts as a token. And if you can capture him, then that's another 100 points. So you can kind of recoup the loss of your general, essentially. And yeah, other than that, that is us set up. So the token there, that is my swarm. He's underground. I opted to put the scorpions above ground, so I've gone fairly central. I've got the carrion skulking about there, whereas John has gone the opposite. He's got a bit of weight on the flanks, a bit of bait in the middle there with the bolt throwers trained in on the road. So we shall see how it goes. We will roll on camera now. I've got +1, as you can see, my army is relatively small.
Oh, biscuits.
So I think I might actually opt to go second, because I don't much I can do in the first turn. So yeah, I will go second. So we'll come back after High Elves 1.
Good luck, sir.
Good luck. Not too much luck, please.
Right, I better go keep it sullen, haven't I? But,
how's it gone?
Not too shabby for a first turn. Everything sort of moved round. Eagles come up there just to give you something to think about. Chariots hid behind the woods. This chariot's hid behind the house. Reavers have come up on the flank. These Reavers are staying here to be annoying for your carrion, just to keep my bolt throwers a little bit protected. And the Silver Helms, these have wheeled round this way, and Lady Faylen's unit has come to there. Everything else, as stated, is the wizard, lone wizard on his own. He's risking it. Magic phase, Vols are making with her to Ring of Corrin. Scott stopped it. This guy casted Curse of Arrow Attraction onto the Prince's unit. Got it off. Scott didn't stop it. She done the Crow's Feast onto that unit. And did I just do a wound? You saved one, didn't you? Just one wound on there. I did roll 6 and rolled 2 wounds, and Scott did save one. And then I tried doing a big Vols on making with him. I was only 1 shy, annoyingly, on the king, but didn't go off. That was that. And then in the shooting, chariots, plink shots. This one on that chariot done nothing. This one on the scorpion done nothing. And then the 2 bolt throwers went into the chariots that were obviously cursed of arrowed, but Scott has got the Mirage banner on them. So annoyingly for me, I rolled really well first time. So I had to re-roll my successful hits, which I had 8. And then I only had 4 re-rolls of my misses for a Curse of Arrow Attraction. In the end, I done 4 hits, but I did do 4 wounds, and obviously they're -2. So I killed a chariot and done a wound to 1. So all in all, not too shabby. But over to Scott.
Turn 1 for the Two Kings. And we've got everything's moving up in the middle. I skirted past the eagle here. Just went as far forward as I could. Obviously can't march for any Tomb Kings. And the carrion came up to threaten the flank. Magic was where I had the interesting things to do, although John had a lot of things to try and stop me from doing it. So the prince tried to move himself forward. John stopped that. Then the king tried to move this scorpion twice, and John stopped it both times with his dice. And this priest here tried to move that scorpion so he could get a charge over this way, but John scrolled that one. And then my Hierophant, as the only successful one I actually got off, managed to heal 2 wounds to this unit. So I got 1 chariot back on 1 wound, and the injured standard bearer is now not injured anymore. Oh, I forgot, I do actually get some shots with my chariot, so I'll just do that quickly. That's alright, I'll skip past it, but I think it doesn't make any major difference. Just quickly rolled it off camera and didn't get any hits. I only have 5 bow shots at 5s to make with the chariots. So yeah, short and sweet turn. More about seeing if John can continue to chip wounds off of me before I smash through the centre over there. On to turn 2.
Turn 2 for the High Elves is okay. Right. So movements, I had deliberated a lot. Scott's got a lot of movement everywhere, and he's got a lot of spells that can move stuff as well. So charges, his chariot went in against this scorpion, and then these eagle and those went in against the other scorpion. I'm glad I was going to charge him in and then try and go all out to get these in with the movement spell. I'm glad I never now, because Lady Faylen's let me down again. These reavers have come up round to there. This eagle that was here has just come to obviously block these up. This chariot's just hid here. Realising that her spells, she doesn't need to see a lot of stuff to cast her good spells. I just turned them about face and they've come back this way. And then these have shuffled back that way, same as this wizard here. Magic phase, 2 bang spells. Scott stopped with his dice. And then I done Curse of Our Attraction from him onto them again. And Scott scrolled it. And then I wanted to cast the spell that makes monsters hit on 6s on the scorpion over there, and she miscast, and she's wounded herself. So that was Lady Faylen. Last spell, I tried doing a Vors Unmaking with him onto the prince, but didn't roll high enough, so that was magic. Shooting wasn't great either. We forgot the last turn to randomise the bolt for hits on these guys here, but we did remember this time. So the banner took a wound and the musician took a wound. That was it, wasn't it? Yeah, pretty pathetic, because I did roll 9 hits as well. So pretty pathetic wounds. And then the chariot did hit and wound, but Scott saved it. And then in the combats, this one here, I only rolled a 2, annoyingly, for impact hits, but he did do 2 wounds with his impact hits. The crew and the horses done nothing, and Scott done 2 back to me. So we tied combat. And then this one over here, the Reaver's horses done 2 wounds. Scott did save 1, but then this hero here done 2 wounds by himself, and Scott didn't save either of them. So we done 3 wounds. Scott did kill 2 Reavers back, but 3 wounds and an outnumber to Scott's 2 wounds. I won combat by 2, and Scott does crumble 1 less, but it was still enough to crumble that scorpion, luckily. So the eagles pathetically overrun to there, but looking where Scott's hierophants are and stuff, maybe that's not the end of the world. And the Reavers have gone over there. So that is how it's looking at High Elf turn 2. Let's see what the Tomb Kings can do in their turn now.
Tomb Kings turn 2, and that was a big turn. So we've got everything moved forward in the centre. The giant, the 2 units of chariots used their fast cav to weave past the eagles that were in the way. And the carrion, I did want to risk a charge on that chariot, but even if I could have got it, I think chariot with the carrion are a bit rubbish. So I just floated over here to be annoying. And my hierophant has got the Cloak of the Dunes, so he can fly, so he launched over here because it did feel like there were a lot of things surrounding his unit, and I didn't want him to get stuck whilst my chariots have moved forward, because then I lose a lot of my mobility. And it's paid off. So magic phase. What did I do first? The prince, he tried his "it will be done" to get a charge.
He only rolled a 3, didn't he?
Yeah, he rolled a 3, but John rolled a 1 to stop it, even though he gets +1. So that went off, and they got into combat, which was lovely. The king did it twice on the giant. John stopped the first one, but the second one I rolled a bit too high, and so that chariot fled the charge of the giant. Then this priest used his own unit to try and charge this eagle, who fled, so the units just moved forward slightly. But then the man of the hour was the hierophant, as he healed the scorpion back to 4 wounds, which was very tasty, and then he did 2 wounds to the Reavers that were here with his magic missile, and then they failed their panic check and ran off the board. So that's really cleared up this flank for me, which is really helpful. Shooting phase, I just plinked a few shots at the chariot, and I did actually wound it from the king's unit, which is great. And in the combat phase, the prince's unit smashed in and killed 5 silver helms, which has helped me immensely. Unfortunately, John did do a few wounds back, so I lost my musician, which then meant I lost the combat. So it would have been a tight combat, but him having a musician meant I lost, and so I crumbled another wound. But that's not the worst thing in the world. They are where they are. And over here, the chariot whiffed its attacks against the now full-strength scorpion, who then ripped it to pieces. I couldn't overrun because it was a second round of combat, but that is looking a lot nicer than it was a turn ago. So John has quite a bit to try and damage mitigate in turn 3, especially with a few things fleeing at the moment. On to John.
Turn 3 for the High Elves. It's not going great at the moment. Rallies, everything. There was no charges, nothing could see anything. Rallies, everything rallied it could. The Eagle rallied and the Chariot rallied. Remaining moves, Faylen hopped out to hide behind the woods here. These guys moved back 6 and then turned. This Eagle come here just to give his Hierophant something to think about, and the Reavers have spanned over there, and then this Mage has come back to here. Right, magic. I'm just regretting taking beasts now. You try and go a bit niche, and it just don't work. But there you go. So Ring of Corrin, Scott did try and stop it, but failed, and I've destroyed his King's Crown. Yep. So he'll only get to roll 1 dice now, which is quite handy. So that's worked well. He did stop the Ring of Fury from this one here, and then I tried doing. He tried making the Chariot charge. Yep. And Scott scrolled it. His last scroll. He didn't have any dice left, so then he casted Curse of Our Attraction onto these, and then with my last dice, she made their mounts hit on 6s. So it was a successful magic phase. I pretty much got everything done, but when you haven't really done a great deal of damage, it doesn't feel like it. So then in the shooting, both bolt throwers obviously shot at these because they were cursed. I did do quite a lot of wounds, didn't I?
Yeah, you killed one of them.
But because obviously it spans over the Chariot and spans over the King, there's just loads of wounds on everything and not actually anything is killed, annoyingly. But that was the best I could do there. Then into the combats, I done 2 wounds. Scott done a wound back. So I won by 2. Scott crumbled onto his Prince's Chariot. We'll have to check that because I'm not sure if the unit's got to crumble first. No, we'll check that anyway. But we'll have to have a look at that. And that was it, pretty much. So this is how it lies. Turn 3 on to Scott. See what they can do.
Turn 3 for the Tomb Kings. Mixed bag of a turn. So everything moved up. The Tomb Swarm popped out the ground and scattered all the way over here. It was a full 10 scatter, which was a bit annoying. The Carrion charged the Bolt Thrower that was there, and then the Swarm, charged that Eagle. So did the Scorpion. Both of them failed to catch it as it ran away, which is pretty expected. Magic phase, though, was devastatingly good, so I managed to get the Bone Giant to charge the Spearman. Sorry, first of all, the Prince's unit, he tried to do the one where he gets to attack, but John stopped that one. Then the King managed to get the Bone Giant to charge the Spearman, and they fled in terror. John stopped me from moving the Tomb King's unit again, and even though I rolled a paltry 4, he'd run out of dice, so he had to scroll my last attempt to do it with this unit. And then the Hierophant over here threw the Swarm at the Eagle again, but didn't quite get enough to get him off the table. So in hindsight, probably should have held up those Silver Helms, but there we go. Combat, though, was where it went a bit wrong. So the Carrion started off strong and wiped out the crew, and they've overrun off the table, which is lovely.
I snapped one in Gamer Rage.
Yeah, John's broken one of them. He's I
lose my temper.
He said it was an accident. But yeah, over here, the Prince called a challenge, knowing that he was probably done for, so I thought I'd try and take that hero out. He's doing himself proud compared to your other the hero who died last time. He was a load of rubbish.
Mind you, I rolled an obscene amount of hits and wounds this time, but could only actually do one.
Yeah, so he'd slashed the chariot with the unit, and then the prince, he whiffed it. He only did one wound, and then John saved it because he's got the enchanted shield. So didn't do any wounds back, and he crumbled away. And John has passed the curse test. So
it was close, wasn't it?
He was a bit scared. He got a 9, but he's still there. So he's got something to actually react and maybe cause some problems for my remaining guys, but it's still looking favourable to me, so I'm not going to complain too much. So on to John's turn 4.
Turn 4 for the High Elves. So the movement phase, I did try charging both of these in. These have got the Lion Banner, so they're immune to fear and terror. These guys here, they failed their charge. They did pass their fear check. They failed to there. And the rest of the movement, the eagle rallied, luckily. This eagle come here, because if I didn't crumble this, I was a bit worried about where the skeletons were going to go. So he's going to do a bit of march blocking. Those guys are over there, obviously, just to start trying to harry him a little bit. This guy moved back, and Lady Faylen come round the Johnny Horner around the wood to there. And then in the magic phase, so done a Ring of Corrin again on his king. Scott stopped it. Ring of Fury onto this guy. They got magic resistance. Good job, Scott remembered. He did stop it, and then it blimmin' ran out. So that's a little bit annoying. Curse of Arrow Attraction onto him. I did roll high, but again, Scott with 2 dice and the magic resistance managed to stop it. Crow's Feast onto this guy. 2d6, strength 3. So I rolled 8, and I did manage to do a wound. Scott never saved it. And then she done the movement spell on the silver helms that were here. We obviously knew they were a failed charge. They need to roll high. I rolled a 4 for my fear check, because you still have to do that on the charges. And then I rolled a mighty 10. So they went in the flank. So that was pretty good for me. Shooting. 2s to hit the team giant. What did I roll, Scott?
Nice big 1.
As you do. So nothing to do in the shooting. And then in the combats, I had sort of math hammered it in my head beforehand. I only needed to do the 2 wounds to the chariots with outnumber, banner, and a flank. I was going to crumble 5 off his lord, who had only 5 wounds left. And that is exactly what happened. And both my boys passed their, what's it called? Curse.
Yeah, the curse.
The curse. Both of them passed their leadership test for that. So we've gone from looking in a pretty disarray to looking like we're still pretty well in this game. So Scott's got a few things. Let's see what he can do on his turn.
Tomb King's turn 4. Not much I could do because everything was facing the wrong way, and unfortunately, my magic is now much more limited without the king. So the Bone Giant moved up into the middle to be just a bit of a threat. He came up in the back to be a bit of a threat. He moved over there to get out of the Reaver's charge range or line of sight. Thanks, John.
Sorry about that.
And yeah, that was about it. So I tried to use the priest to urgency my giant forward. John barely stopped it. And then I tried to urgency the scorpion, and John barely stopped it. So barely might be enough, unfortunately. And I have to see if John can pass a terror test and see if he can push his advantage even further.
Thank Christ for Eagles, that's all I'll say, because they could be in a little bit of trouble otherwise. So the movement phase, I passed my terror check on these, and then they passed their fear check to charge. So both units charged in. Obviously, that was the way it ended up, like that. This guy hid out the way over here. Lady Faylen ran to this way over here, but just in a nice range of the carrion. So they were out and she was in. Reavers hid over there. obviously, if these skeletons want to try and come up here, then I might be able to do a bit of sneaky. So they're just hiding from any magic missiles. And then the eagles have just blocked everything pretty much. So this one's flew from here, and he's blocked him up there. And then this one's flew to there to redirect them that way if they want to charge. So that was about the best I could do. So magic wasn't too bad. Yeah, it was good. Magic phase was good. I can remember it then. So she done a Vols I'm making onto him. Scott never had anything, but I might as well try, see if they could. Then she done a Beast Cower, not Beast Cowers, Crow's Feast onto the Carrion.
Yeah.
You let that one go, didn't you?
Yeah, and you killed 2. You did 4 wounds.
Yeah, let that one go. Done 4 wounds there. And then, was it a curse I tried doing on them? You stopped? No, you kept all your dice, didn't you?
I saved them all for that last one, and then I whiffed it.
Because what it was going to be, yeah. Yeah, so pretty much. What did I do on my other 3 dice then?
You did the Beast Cowers on the Giant.
Yeah, but I'd done the Crows, done the Carrion one on these.
Did you just give up? I can't remember. Did you not have anything to do? Or was there something else? Oh, you tried Vols on making.
Oh, yeah, that was it. I wanted to get rid of his fly, yeah. I was just going to say...
And you nearly miscast with that, so that was nearly a bad one.
So we're going to try doing a Vols on him to get rid of his fly, and then she done the...
Beast Cowers.
Beast Cowers, which
and I tried to stop it, failed to stop it because I rolled horribly low.
Yeah, so he was hitting on 6s.
And that probably has made a difference.
Yeah, it has, yeah, luckily. So that was that. Shooting phase. Oh, sorry, with the Crow's Feast, I did kill 2 Carrion. And then in the shooting phase, this guy ripped the last one off. So that was pretty handy. And then in the blimmin' combats, so I hit a ridiculous amount of times. I think I hit 9 times of everything. There was a lot of attacks going in, strength 5 and obviously the horses, but I only wounded once. And Scott did save it because he's obviously got a decent-ish save. So that was pretty bad. And then luckily for me, he was obviously hitting on 6s, so he done nothing back to me. And I won by 3. He only crumbles 1 less because he's a construct, so he's down to 3 wounds. And then I've surrounded him, obviously, with lapping round. So that's how that's gone. Yeah, big turn 5 for the Tin Kings. See what they can do.
Turn 5. It was tantalizingly close. I managed to get the Scorpion into combat, which is what I wanted. I also charged the Swarm into one of the Eagles, these guys into the other Eagle. They both held. These guys beat this Eagle, even though my Leech Priest took a wound, and it fled. The Swarm ate the other Eagle, which was nice. And then I did 1 wound to the commander over here, and I did another wound to the unit with the Scorpion. Unfortunately, the Giant suffered 2 wounds, and then he whiffed his attacks. So wasn't enough, and they both crumbled. So that has caused me a fair bit of hurt over here now, and it's basically a case of can John just hold on to his position now because he's in a pretty good one.
Lady Faylen and the gang look like they're pulling it out the bag at the death. So movement, these guys wheeled and moved down to here out the way. The Reavers come onto the road over there. Lady Faylen come up to here. The Eagle did rally. And then these guys done they didn't have to move once because they were facing that way. They just moved and turned. So they're within 3 of there and obviously still on the road. So that was all the movements. The magic was brutal, to be fair. Everything worked. So she done a Crow's Feast on the Swarm. I did only roll 6 hits, but they are only T2, and I rolled 5 wounds, so that destroyed that. Then this guy over here, he done a Vols I'm making onto him, and Scott couldn't stop it, so I destroyed his fly. And then He did try doing a Curse of Our Attraction with them, but I was miles out of range. I probably shouldn't have risked it, really, but there you go. And then in the shooting, this guy hit 5 times against the skeletons and then done 5 wounds as well. So it's peeled them down to 16, which means they are tied with these now. So it's going to give Scott some decisions to make without him being able to fly. I think he might be in a bit of trouble in this one. Let's see what he can do.
Final turn, and it did not. Well, it could have gone worse, I guess. I couldn't really do much other than trying to make sure I secured some of, if not all of the road. So the attempt was, so I was down on models and John had both of the road sections. I thought if the priest was here and could claim that one and those could claim that one, I wasn't going to get close enough to get my general's body back. And he popped out. Now, what I was hoping to do was I had the banner that was supposed to heal them up. Then these two would have blasted these off, and hopefully I would have then secured both of the sections. Unfortunately, John stopped the bound spell from going off, and then I rolled stupidly low. I only rolled a 3 for him to try and heal that unit. And John stopped that, so then I had no choice but to do it again, and he only rolled a 4. I did deliberate going for them, but there's too many different factors.
That is at 18 as well as Magic Missile.
That's what I was thinking. I was looking at it, well, and it was a bit of a long one. So in the end, we went for healing. I only rolled a 4 to do that. My magic's obviously running out, but John, thankfully, only rolled a 1. So I did at least claim this road, which has given me an extra 200 points. But if you can tell from the lack of stuff on the board, I might be in a bit of trouble, so we will calculate the scores and come back. But
good game anyway, sir.
Good game,
that was
John.
A fun one that was.
Right, final scores are in.
Not good for you, my friend. So there's a lot of points obviously on offer on the table. I got 300 extra for the road and just token for your general. You got 200 extra for that side of the road. I also got your 2 chariot banners, your general, and a lot of your army as well. So the High Elves got a mighty 2149, and you ended up on 849. So a big 1300 swing, which has led to poor old Ramotep crumbling out of it altogether.
So we've said if the rogue armies get massacred, they're done. So he's been smashed to pieces. He's got nowhere to retreat to, so he's just out of the game. And we've already rolled for who's going to be coming on, so he's going to be replaced by a rampaging load of ogres. So make sure you watch later in the week, watch the video where we do all the map moves, because there will be a new army entering the fray.
That was a mad game, really, wasn't it, mate?
Oh, it looked like first half of the game that was mine to win, and then the flanking move on the king really. It
was just those silver helms holding up your chariots, and then obviously destroying the princes, and that was it. That was the move that just sold the whole operating.
Your eagles pretty much won you that, because they just stopped me from responding to the. But yeah, anyway, we've got a lot of stuff with the map moves and stuff to film now, so we'll cut that one there. But hope you enjoyed that one. Do like, subscribe, keep watching. It does help the channel. And yeah, later on in the week, we will have the map moves. It's starting to heat up a bit now. John's got 2 armies bearing down on my HQ. I was hoping that was going to ping one of them backwards, but no avail. Although I have got a 3rd army entering the fray, unless I'm wrong. So
no, you're wrong, because you've got a load of buildings on fire.
I'll count it up in a minute. Anyway,
well done, mate.
Cheers, John. See you again.
See you again.